Hello, my lovelies. I am Madam Crystal Butterfly. You know something, my lovelies? I'm I'm kind of stressed out right now. You see, I am currently editing my book Curse of the Frog Prince Part 2. And the editing process can be so tiresome. And to make matters worse, I am working on more books, like my up and coming books, Realms, the Hidden Fairy. And, having all those books to write combined with editing, it's just tiresome, stressful, and all that jizzity jazz. And, be nice if I could take a bit of a break right now. But since I'm almost done writing Realms, now time for a little break. So I need something to ease my mind. And nothing eases your mind better than a little comfort food. And I know when I said comfort food, many of y'all thinking about some good old American apple pie. Or some of that mac and cheese. Maybe some chicken and dumplings. But, yeah, my lovelies, in my case, the best comfort food in the world is good old-fashioned African stew. So come with me to my author's kitchen and I will teach you how to make some tasty West African stew. Alright, my lovelies, let's start off with our ingredients. Alright, first off, I'm going to use some bell pepper. Now, I sliced up 2 small bell peppers, but usually with this recipe, I use more bell peppers than this. I would suggest you use 2 large bell peppers. Next up, we have 2 onions that I cut up, followed by 2 carrots. And now we have some curry, followed by red pepper, salt, oxtail seasoning. Now, normally I don't use oxtail seasoning, but since I am using oxtail as my meat this time, I'm going with oxtail seasoning. And now we have some diced tomatoes, along with some tomato paste. So these are our oxtails. I am going to rinse them off with some water, then cut some of the fat off of them before I stick them into my pot. I just rinsed off my oxtails. As you can see, there is a slit in the middle of each of them. You do this so that it can absorb more flavor. I use the paper towel to dry my oxtails. You want to make sure that your meat has been dried before you stick it in your pan. Let's get cooking. I'm using canola oil, and I am just going to use just enough of the oil to coat the bottom of the pan. I'm adding my oxtail to the pan one at a time so that I can start browning my oxtail. I'm doing this just because the oxtail will cook longer in the stew sauce, and if I cooked it all the way now, it would make it bland. So I'm going to get it nice and brown. Then I am going to finish it up later when I've got my stew sauce going. The oxtail is done. Now we're taking a little bit of the grease out of the pan, but we're not taking it all out. And as you can see, these little brown bitty bits from the oxtail meat, that is flavor. You're gonna want to keep that, so don't try to scrape that up and toss it. Now we're adding the onions, and while you are cooking your onion, you're going to want to stir them and scrape up some of the brown bit that is on the bottom, because as I said before, that is flavor and you do not want that to burn. Just stir it and mix it up with your onion. And we're just going to cook this for just a few minutes. Now we're adding the curry powder, and we are going to cook it directly in the grease for just a few minutes, just to help bring out the flavor of the curry. I suggest you do this to make the flavor more pungent. Also, I forgot to mention, while I was cooking my onions, I added my bell pepper and let it cook. You're going to want to cook your bell pepper about the same time you add your onions. It's been about 10 seconds. So we're gonna go ahead and mix all this up and get it nice and incorporated. And we're also going to be adding the red pepper. Now, we like a lot of pepper in our African stew, so I suggest you add the amount of red pepper that you personally would want in your stew. If you like it not too spicy, just add a little. If you like it very spicy, then like us, add a lot. We're also going to be adding a little water to the pan so that the brown bits at the bottom that we couldn't get scraped up before don't burn. And we're going to try to scrape those up so that we can get that flavor into the stew, because as I've said repeatedly, those brown bits are really, really good flavor. You gotta keep them. It's time to add the red tomato paste and mix it all up with the ingredients we've got in this pot, and so that it's well incorporated. Now the tomato paste is all nice and mixed in, we are adding the diced tomatoes to the pot, and we're gonna mix that in too. Once it's all nice and mixed, we're gonna turn down the heat to low and just let it cook and put the top back on. Okay, my lovelies, we've been letting this cook for a bit, and as you can see, everything has really melded together nicely. So we are going to add a small pitcher of water to our pot. I believe this is about 4 cups. And we're gonna give this a nice stir. Then we're actually going to add a second can of diced tomatoes, because after we let it cook for a while, the both of us realized that there was not enough diced tomato in our African stew, and you're going to want to make sure to add enough tomato to your African stew. The time has come for us to put this stew in the oven, but first we added the carrots. We diced them up, then added them to our stew sauce, and then we began re-adding the meat. And when you re-add the meat, make sure to pour any drippings you have from the meat into the sauce as well, since it will add extra flavor. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven on 400 and just let it cook. Our West African stew is ready. So it is time for us to fix our plates. Alright, my lovelies, that is how you make fantastic West African stew. Now, I made some rice off screen to go with my stew. If you want to learn how I make my rice, let me know in the comments below. And my lovelies, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Leave me a comment. And if you have not yet, slap that subscribe button like it owes you money. And don't forget to give that little notification bell a ring. And with that, this video is a wrap. Now, my lovers, if you please excuse me. My tummy is a-rumbling and my taste buds are about to dance into a world of African stew-tastic magic.